Tell me what brought you to God.
I think what brought me to God was going to church with my best friend for the first time. And when I went, it was like, I feel like my whole life changed. Like I felt like I got cleansed of like all my like sorrows and like worries. And I feel like ever since then, I just have always wanted to go every Sunday. At least I've tried to go every Sunday. And yeah.
Tell me, how do you stay committed to your faith?
I stay committed to my faith by reading the Bible at least twice a week, maybe, and talking to like my peers about like God and everything He's done, like to help me and just stuff like that. Just like keeping up with the Bible work and stuff.
Tell me, what are some struggles and benefits of being a Christian?
Some struggles are like, I feel like I feel guilty if I don't show up to church, and like if I miss a day of like reading the Bible, or just missing something or missing out to like do something with like the church and stuff. But some benefits of being a Christian are definitely just like getting to know new people, and like I feel like I've been happier since I've done all that, and yeah, it's basically that.
Tell me what brought you to God.
I would say that when I would see other people, like, go to church and go to these events and talk about, their life being better, I was kind of like, wouldn't it be cool if I did the same? And so basically, I kind of one day, I'd say mid of last year, picked up my Bible and kind of started reading. And from then, I just kind of sparked more interest. And I just couldn't really stop. Good that I didn't, but, I just got so much closer.
Okay. Tell me, how do you stay committed to your faith?
I say through stuff I enjoy. So, for example, I go to youth group every Wednesday. Show up. I'm just kidding. But, yeah, I do stuff where I find it, like, say, working out. That helps me because, it just gives me that positive mindset. And also just kind of discussion with friends and, looking out for other people. I'd say it builds, if I get other people closer to God, it'll bring me closer as well. And I value relationships in a Christian life.
Tell me, what are some struggles, benefits of being a Christian?
I would say a sort of struggles that obviously, since you cannot see physically what you are praising, it's kind of hard sometimes to know that someone is there. And also, judgment is a big one. As Christians, we feel that whatever we do or however we act, we are going to get judged harsh for it. Whether we say one bad thing or do one bad thing or just think one bad thing. And we fear that, it's judgment. But benefits, I would say, is definitely my life got a lot happier. I met a lot of great people, and it's really made me healthier and made me smarter and made me just a better person overall, attitude-wise. And, God really led me down the right path, and I feel like if other people do the same, I'm saying like, I'm so much better than I was back then in every aspect. So yeah, that's kind of my story. Thank you for asking. And yeah.
Tell me what brought you to God.
So the main thing that brought me closer to God was my anxiety. So the first time I had ever heard the concept of me having anxiety was after I had stayed at a friend's house and I was planning on staying 2 nights. And I went up to their mom and I was like, my stomach hurts, like, but it's weird, like it's not like a normal hurt. And so she had taken my temperature, nothing was wrong. And so then my mom came and got me because I was like, I can't stay another night. And as we're driving home, I see my mom's phone and a text on it says, from my friend's mom, was like, hey, I think Americus might have anxiety and you might, and well, she just said, I think Americus might have anxiety. And then my mom had messaged back and was like, well, what can we do to help with it? And nothing ever happened out of that. But then a few years later, I was filling out a sports physical, and one of the questions was like, on a scale of 1 to 5 or 0 to 5, like how worried are you before like games or practices or stuff like that? And my mom was having me fill it out, and I was like, probably like a 3. And my mom was like, no, like we can't put that down, it's just more paperwork. And so from then on, like my anxiety to me was just like, oh, my anxiety is more paperwork. Like it's not that important that I don't need to like worry about it because it's not important. And so then I'd get really bad anxiety about storms. Like I'd get sent home as a kid if there was a bad storm the previous night because I still had really bad anxiety that next day. But at that point, I thought it was just stomach aches. And then once I was in junior high, I was like, okay, this is actually like a problem. This is not something I should be experiencing every day. And I'd always been like kind of in the church. I knew about God from a young age, but then my anxiety, I think once I got to high school, it was like, okay, God can help me with my anxiety. And I think a verse that I'd seen, it's my favorite verse, that had really showed to me that God could help was Matthew 6:34. It's, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. And that really spoke to me that like God will worry about tomorrow for me. And he won't even worry about it. He already has it planned out. He already knows what's happening to the point that I don't need to worry about tomorrow.
Alright. Tell me, how do you stay committed to your faith?
One way that I really stay committed is making sure I go to church every Sunday because that gives me the motivation to actually be in the Word daily. And then another big part of it is me and my boyfriend do a lot of like devotional stuff like in the Bible together. So that helps me because he's holding me accountable and I'm holding him accountable, so that we're always in the Word every day and we're always praying and we're just always with God.
Tell me, what are some struggles and benefits of being a Christian?
I think a benefit, is having a relationship with Jesus and all your sins are forgiven. And just having someone that's always by your side. That like Jesus and God will never leave you. They're always there. But some downfalls of it, there's not really a downfall to being a Christian, but just having like your spiritual battles of trying to stay a Christian, but then all of the worldly sins that are around you that are tempting you to fall out of your faith. It's just really hard, especially being a teenager and you want to be involved in the things that other kids are involved in. Being a Christian is just definitely hard, trying to limit yourself from that.
Tell me what brought you to God.
Basically I had a very religious family and I grew up in the church. I went to Catholic private school, preschool to 5th grade, basically. God was my whole life. And then after my parents divorced, I stopped going to church. And a lot of negative trauma from that. And then I just walked away from it. Starting in the summer, going to freshman year, I started, working with my Bible, yada yada. And then I stopped again because stuff happens. And I just started picking it back up December 2025, but it got away from me. But now we're back at it.
Okay. Tell me, how do you stay committed to your faith?
A lot of friends bring you with it. I'm surrounded by a lot of people that believe in God and go to church and youth group and preach, reading your Bible. So I usually just come to them, or they'll just basically come to me.
Okay. Tell me, what are some struggles and benefits of being a Christian?
Biggest struggle is feeling pressured, like being asked to go to things even though you don't know if it's right. Benefits, it just makes your life healthier both ways. Just depends how you look at it. You got a path. Sometimes the wind might take you somewhere. You gotta stay on that path that God has made you.
All right.
Let's cut the camera.
Tell me, what brought you to God?
I don't know if there was necessarily. I mean, I grew up in church, so obviously I've always known God, and I've always had somewhat of a relationship with God. But I think the biggest thing that kind of brought me to Him, that made it prominent that I had to have a relationship with God, was when I went to court with my dad. When I went to court with my dad, and I was just kind of felt really alone and everything, and I didn't really know what to do with myself. I didn't know what to do with myself, and I didn't ever have anything to turn to until I realized that the only thing that was gonna satisfy my hunger for just a person was God. So that was my biggest turning point.
Tell me, how do you stay committed to your faith?
I think my biggest thing is going to youth group, because I'm just surrounded by people that are there to support me and support my faith and my walk and everything. And I don't know, I try to be in the Word and pray enough, a lot, all the things.
Tell me, what are some struggles and benefits of being a Christian?
I mean, I think all of it's just a benefit, to be honest, but I don't know, the biggest benefit is just having God in your life and feeling fulfilled and stuff. And I think the biggest struggles would probably be just dealing with adversity and stuff, and not being just having troubles with your faith, and being the only person maybe around that is going through that stuff.
Did I hit it?
We're here with Addie Pippinger. Thanks for coming out. Addie, so tell me, what's bringing you to God?
I would say what's bringing me to God is my own struggles with depression, anxiety, and eating disorder.
All right. Tell me, how do you plan to stay committed to your faith as you start your journey?
Well, I've never really done this before, so I'd say the simple things like going to church, reading the Bible, and just talking to people who do go to church.
Lastly, tell me, what are some struggles and or benefits that you think you'll run into as a Christian?
I think some struggles will be actually being motivated to go and staying committed to that. And I think benefits would be just bettering myself, getting happy, and getting healthy.
Well, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much, and I wish you the best.